Let's talk about the slop, guys.
Yeah.
YouTube is trying to better identify when content is mass produced or repetitive. And so one way is to make it ineligible to make ad revenue. But then meanwhile, we have some AI slop going viral. There was that Wimbledon influencer, but it was an AI generated influencer with apparently two knee joints in her leg. Obviously, it's fake. Obviously, it's AI generated, but that Wimbledon post now has like almost 300,000 likes. This particular influencer, that Mia Zelu or Mia Zelu, has like almost 300,000 followers, which, you know what, for me, that calls into question why. Like, why does this exist? Why does anyone follow this? But then that quickly has me thinking, does anyone follow this? Like, at this point, social media bots have become so sophisticated, right? So hard to find that I wonder if the vast majority of this account's followers are just bots. And so if it goes viral, if we just think it went viral, that's kind of what I wonder. But perhaps that's neither here nor there because these AI generated influencers like Mia Zelu is not the only one, right? There are lots of these. And I
Did we
guess it's
find
like,
out who made that?
no, I don't think we know. Do we know? I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because that would have been like my question. It's
Yeah.
like, what's the point? So you have an influencer that you created specifically to be at Wimbledon, like
Yeah.
for what? To become like a tennis influencer, like to just show off that, you can create this type of art. I mean, it's not art, like quote unquote art, but like that you
Yeah,
can
yeah.
you can
Stuff.
create these
It's
types
slop.
of this content for people. Like
Yeah.
yeah, so I'd be curious to see what
No,
it's
still
for.
anonymous still.
Huh.
Don't know when the account was created, but I've it's funny. I was trying to research this before we hopped on the pod here, and I was reading through news articles about Mia Zelu to figure out like, well, why is this going viral? Like, what is interesting about this? And none of those articles even answer that. That's why I wonder, like,
Yeah.
are these followers even real?
Yeah, but I guess that the flip side of that is where's the curiosity from like the journalists or the content creators that are asking these questions or should be asking these questions? Like, why aren't we talking about, who created this and like the purpose of it,
Yeah.
especially for things that go viral and that, reach mainstream. I think part of what is on us or, I mean, I don't know. Who is it on? I guess is the other question, right? To let
Hmm.
people know that this content creator was fake and like what it's supposed to do for our, knowledge or understanding, of like regular folks, because this also reminds me of that. The photo that went viral of the AI chatbots on Facebook, where
Hmm.
there was like a million plus people talking to a chicken, like where they didn't realize that, or maybe they did. I don't know. The question was, the question the person was asking was, who is talking to a chicken, And at the time, these were like open conversations. Like people could see on their timeline that people they knew were talking to the chicken. Facebook went and then turned it off, because it's like, yeah, maybe people don't want other people to know that they're talking to a chicken chatbot. That's obviously fake, right? Because chickens cannot talk, right? So yeah, it's kind of weird that like, we're at this point, but then it's also like we're at a new frontier of like new content that's been created, new chatbots. So people don't really know, how to act or like what to do. We all make kind of the jokes of like boomers not knowing that, who they're talking to is real, on phone
Yeah.
calls. How is that going to change when they're talking to chatbots on Facebook that they think are
Yeah.
like real accounts?
We are all these boomers now.
Yeah.
Like, like it is kind of sad that people aren't asking the question of why does this account exist? Who's behind it? What's the point? It looks like it was started maybe about 4 months ago or so. So could have been
Interesting.
started
So it
for
wasn't
Wimbledon.
even specifically for Wimbledon.
Or it,
Or it could have been.
yeah, it could have
Oh,
been.
Started it just enough in advance. I mean, build up a
Hmm.
little bit of.
yeah,
I don't know.
fair.
I think
Yeah.
you're onto something with why aren't we asking questions, but maybe that's because we sit in a bubble, but not a
Yeah.
bubble, but like we sit in a circle, right? You sit.
Yeah.
It's your circle of influence, and
Hmm.
Right.
and so maybe as marketers we think like people should be asking questions, and this is outrageous, and uh, because it feels like it might be coming for what we do or what we've done in the past, work wise, or with our expertise and leveraging that. And now somebody could just fire up a bot and get a bunch of attention. I mean, we know how hard it is to generate any amount of attention. Amanda, I haven't seen recently like how your posts do on X, but like at one point you were getting tons of traction. Maybe you still are.
Nah.
But it changes, right? Right. So it goes up and down. I'm only going based off of mine. I'm using Amanda because everyone knows you and not me on the show.
You're
But
the F1 guy. What are
that
you talking about? The F1 community knows you.
but attention has changed, right?
Yeah.
Attention has changed, and how we get attention has significantly changed. Yes, new frontier, but really it's just old tools, new application or old fundamentals, new applications of it. I'm not saying like, okay, what does an AI influencer do for me? Okay, but she's a young, white, blonde. I mean, like it fits all of the demographic things that you're looking for, or maybe what the brand might be looking for. I mean, who knows? This could have been Wimbledon for all we
That's
know.
what
That
I was
partnered,
wondering.
Yeah.
and it's like, hey, we just need someone that looks pretty and we can promote, and we don't need to blur out faces. Everyone in the thing is fake, so it doesn't really matter. We can promote our drink. We can promote our, it's attention. At the end of the day, I think it's attention. How do you get the attention? If that account generates attention and now suddenly Zulu, what's her name? Lulu, whatever her name is.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
The influencer, the fake influencer.
It's an A-bot. She doesn't care.
Exactly. Suddenly she's promoting, San Pellegrino. Wow. She's got 500, it's still a follower game at the end of the day. Followers, I know you both understand that. Like followers, as much as we know followers, like, they matter, but not really. You could talk 1,000 true fans all you want to people, and they're like, yeah, but do you have 1 million followers? But do you have are you really reaching this? I mean, and I think maybe Amanda, you said it right from the outset. Are they even real interactions? Do the brands care? So if you're looking at it from a pure money grab perspective, it's like, hey, I have a personality with a lot of followers, and look at all the engagement. We don't know where engagement's coming from half the time anymore. Anywhere, even with real people. Like I'm a real person, and half of the people that interact, I don't know if I have no idea if they're real. And so I think there's just a lot of questions, but also like there's a lot of things that get slipped under the rug because do people even care anymore? Look at what Elon just launched yesterday, was the AI companion on Grok.
Oh, right.
Did you guys see that?
Yeah.
And I saw some comments, people were like, oh, this is gamer culture. Like gamer culture is really, penetrating kind of that main like cultural zeitgeist right now. And so is that why the AI stuff doesn't bother people? We're so used to seeing gaming and now we have gaming franchises turning into hit TV shows, Last of Us, Fallout, things like. So are people kind of blending all of this? And does it even, at that point, you're like, well, it all is one thing anyway, so it doesn't really matter anymore.
I do wonder if it's kind of at this point where, like, 'cause when I say, like, who cares? Why does this matter? I wonder if people are like, well, maybe none of it's real anyway. Like, like in the sense, right? Like, you could tell someone let's say someone is really into this AI influencer, and you can tell them it's not even real. Why do you care? Right? That person could say, well, even if I followed a celebrity online, that isn't real. Like, it's not a real relationship anyway. Like, this one actually replies to me. Doesn't matter that it's not real. It's all digital. And so in a sense, all these digital things are not real.
Well, you hear it all the time from people that set up Twitter accounts and they start getting, or X account, whatever, and they start getting replies and like, bro, why are you on my timeline? Well, you put something out there publicly. You didn't expect, and like people actually think when they're posting things that nobody's going to see it or nobody's going to react to it until they do. So you're right. It's like, it's not even real to them. It's not like tangible anyway. For a lot of people, going to Wimbledon is never going to be a realistic thing, or going to an F1 race is never going to be. So what do I care if it's an AI influencer or not? Like, I'm never going there anyway. So the people that go there, to me, or me, the viewer, for all I know and care, they could be fake too.
Honestly, now you're making me think. So the opposite of that, right? Like, as a regular person that would go to one of these events, it could also be like a privacy screen, right? Where it's like, you know that you're probably not going to show up in any of the photos because what they're showing are all the AI influencers that are there.
Yeah.
So it provides another level of privacy. This reminds me of how for the masters, right? You're not allowed to take your phone with you so that you don't take photos. And I wonder if like more events are going to be able to do that, to kind of allow for that level of like, you're here for the event and the experience, you're going to experience it as just like the event and not have like your phone distracting you. And then it might also provide another level of like privacy for celebrities, right? Who like want to attend, you know, some of these events and, you know, don't, are often seen as the face, right? Like the photos that I saw were like all the famous people, and then you know the future king and queen of England and their children, you know, having their photos taken at Wimbledon. And I wonder, like, if for them it's more appealing to be like, okay, maybe these AI influencers are going to just, you know, take enough attention from us that people won't be like looking at us. Probably not them because everyone's always going to be interested in the monarchy or whatever. But you know, some of the celebrities that like you know go, like maybe that'll be appealing as a you know
Maybe.
way to go forward.
Or maybe we'll see the masters come out with their own AI generated influencer. Like, you can't bring your phone because we got it.
Yeah.
We already
Well,
got it.
we're
Yeah.
going to create the content anyway.
Yeah. Exactly.
Anonymity, though, I think is
Yeah.
the gamer culture, and anonymity, I think is
Mhm.
we're going to see more. We're probably going to see more of this because of that.
Mhm.
You know, look at the majority, and I say majority, but I probably shouldn't. I don't have a number, but look at a lot of the people that you might interact with online. Unless you personally know them, a lot of these folks have fake profile photos.
Mhm.
They're not using their real name. They give very little information about themselves, but they are real people interacting.
Right.
You know, you can tell by the way they're you know, going back and forth with you, but they don't want you to know their identity. So an AI influencer or an AI account could be a perfect opportunity for a lot of folks to be the influencer they really want to be, but still have like
Yeah,
this safe
that's what I was
approach.
gonna say. That's one
You know,
thing.
I
It
think it's
reminds me
like,
of the book and the movie Ready Player One, where you know you kind of have the avatars of like who you are
yeah,
online versus you know who you
yeah,
are as a real person or whatever, and those often aren't the same. But generally, you're only allowed like the one profile, right? You don't have like multiple profiles, at least in that story. So I do wonder if that's like a thing where it's like, is there going to be one where it's like you're only tied to one, you know, one avatar, one, you know, character, or are we going to have like multiple ones the way that it is now? And then I did want to bring up that, you know, we talk about, people not caring, but YouTube does care in terms of like, what they're paying out, right? Because
Yeah.
that's why they're creating these new rules. So I'll be curious to see what other, companies, especially, you know, social media companies, Instagram, Facebook, institute similar rules in order to kind of limit how much payout they're giving, and I think that we might see something there in the future where real people, influencers, creators might be on the one side of like, yeah, why we shouldn't pay out to these AI influencers because they're not real, whereas you have these the people that are creating these like AI influencers who do want that money, right? Because it's like, well, we are putting in the work and we're doing everything to kind of create the following and grow the profiles and all that stuff. Why shouldn't
yeah.
that be considered work that also gets payouts?
You know,
Yeah,
people
that's
don't
true.
they don't like to equate AI in general with art. I mean, there are people that are vehemently
Right.
against anything AI. Like, don't even send me a joke if it's created by AI, whatever. But how much of this is really different than art? You look at the banana that got sold, whatever.
Yeah,
The
sure.
banana taped to the wall that got sold for 18 million or whatever it was. I mean, how is that any different than some of the stuff we're talking about when it comes to AI? It's digital, right? Is it because the banana's tangible, or the Banksy painting, or that got shredded? How much of this is similar, and how much of this is, like I said, same concepts, just new tools? That's all we're like. That's to me, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And I think on that note, some good lessons here for marketers. That was exactly what I wanted to hit on about AI being a tool. Like, I think the key thing for marketers is to remember, yeah, sure, like old principles, old standards, but like new tools, right? Like if you're going to use AI, and this goes for anybody, right? Think about how to use it responsibly. Think about how to use it as a tool in your workflow, not as the means to create net new stuff, because it won't be net new. And I think as consumers, always be aware of what you're looking at, what you're filtering in. I think that should always be true regardless of AI,
Yeah.
but
No, that's
especially
true.
now in
For
this
sure.
era.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
sure.
This is the new world. You are gonna have to use AI to some extent, right? I like to think of it as like you're expanding your own abilities and growing like the things that you're already like good at, and maybe helping supplement the things that you aren't good at, right? But one thing I would be aware of is how your brand kind of fits into the AI narrative, right? I mean, we've talked about the example of Duolingo going AI first and the backlash that they faced from their users who weren't happy about it. And at the time we were saying that they could have approached it in a different way. But in the future, we may see that people call them pioneers for coming out as one of the first companies to do that. But that's just something that you have to think about as as a brand, whether you want to kind of dip your toe into into that mess, right? Of having that conversation and like being strong about it. And I think for companies where AI isn't part of your product or your service, like why bother, just like quietly do it, like figure out the ways that it'll work for you, and do it that way. But if it is something that AI is like a huge feature of what you do, then trying to hide it is not going to work for you, but trying to focus on it in a way that helps human ability is probably like the way to go right now. But those are all things that you should be doing as you kind of like social listen to like your audience and your demo to figure out where their stance is on AI. Because like Vincenzo said, some people are very adamant that they do not want anything to have to do with AI. You probably don't want to, be saying that you're, how you're using AI and like be all gung ho for those folks, right? But there are people that are more amenable to it and are already using it or open to it. By finding if that's your core demographic, then like go all in on that and like, figure out how to, position your company and your product and your messaging expanding from there.